So we got a new sponsor, Bology. Appreciate the people at Bology for showing some love in us. That was kind of a unexpected news bit for us to in our brief hiatus that we got a new sponsor. So let me tell you a little bit about our friends at Bology. Bology is built for coaches like you. It gives real data on player development, saves you time, and ensures your players are training the right way. With verified skill assessments, AI driven training, and direct recruiting connections, it levels the playing field for every athlete, no matter where they're from. If you're serious about player development and accountability, why not try Bology? Join thousands of teams, coaches, and organizations already using Bology to elevate their game. Download the Bology app today. Brune, you are a coach yourself.
I was about to
Bology
say,
is something you're always looking for information assessments and any way you can get your team right. Sounds like Bology could be right up your alley too.
I will have a full review next podcast of how we
There we
use it.
go.
Um, so yes, we will. We don't have a tournament this weekend. We have 2 weeks off. Thankfully, we've been everywhere, so we'll be back
Nice.
at it, and I will have the full review for you for Bology. Shout out to Bology.
Beautiful.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Zone Star State podcast. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me once again is Ishmael Johnson. And Ish, it's May 28th, and we still have some news to talk about on this podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Yeah, we have some news, I guess, with the draft eligibility, coming up and kind of finalizing who's going to be in that. We've had some players make some decisions, which caused some other players to make some other decisions. And we had some little bit of news in regards to two teams in particular.
Yeah, the last day, the cutoff for the draft early entry is today. So players needed to decide if they're going back to college or not. And a lot of them did over the past 3-4 days. We're going to focus specifically on Milos Uzan for Houston and the results of that happening. Pop Isaacs moves to Texas A&M. But Uzan returning to Houston, let's start there, because a lot of people are now like, all right, now is this the number one team in the country? You and I both were hesitant to crown them, the best team in the country or, for sure title contender with Pop Isaacs at point guard. Like, we could just be honest about that. Like,
Right.
Those Pop Isaacs, Emmanuel Sharp, and Tugler and whoever else, like, I didn't feel great about it. We both said, like, he needs to come off the bench. Well, you get Uzan back, and now you cut ties with Pop Isaacs, and now it all makes sense again. Now everything is right. Everything is on schedule to where you had Uzan for a year last year. You kind of felt it out. He got better as the year went on. And then I think in the postseason and towards the end of the season, you saw his best basketball, and that's really what I think is going to carry him. And that's why he was even getting draft buzz in the first place. Second round, albeit, but he was still getting, put in those conversations. So this is huge. John Rothstein has Houston second in his, preseason rankings, which he just updated today or yesterday with the news. So you have Uzan, Sharp, Tugler, and then you have that trio of freshmen coming in that are all 5 stars. So the talent is there. I think they're definitely a top 5 team now. I'm still interested to see how it kind of works out with these freshmen, but it's just obviously huge for Houston.
Yeah, I think Parrish has St. John's number 1, Houston number 2. I think they're bringing. I mean, St. John's that brings back Zubi Ejiofor, but they're bringing back they're having to bring in a whole new team. I know they have the number 1 transfer class, but yeah, on Houston, you mentioned it. Like the way Uzan, I was trying to find his splits right here for the year. The way he ended the year gave me a lot of confidence in what he could do because he started the year. I'd say you'd agree, like fine, right? He wasn't bad. It was always going to be a tough task replacing Jamal Shed. And so, like, he kind of came into a situation where lofty expectations. He's kind of the only guy they brought in. So people just expected him to be plug and play. And he didn't do poorly, but I think there was a thing about, okay, can he be the scorer that they wanted? Is he just or that they needed rather? Or is it something where he kind of plays periphery on the peripheries and Cryer and Sharp take over the perimeter scoring entirely, right? And for a little bit, that was the case. But then you mentioned it in March, he hits a new gear. He was always shooting well throughout the season, but in March, 45%, almost 46% from the field, 48% from 3 on, I believe, almost 4 attempts per game. And he was up to 132 total points, basically averaging double figures through the entire month of March. And by the way, I should mention through late February as well. Like it included it was from the Big 12 tournament on that he basically hit his stride. And he became one of the best point guards, probably finished as like the best point guard in the conference, would you say? Finished probably.
Yeah.
And depending on how you feel about Elijah Hawkins, probably, but still.
But no, yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Harris, he's better than DeJuan Harris. He's better than he's better than Elijah Hawkins. Yeah, somewhere like that.
And so if you take that, and I think we could probably agree that he didn't have the best Final Four. Semifinal and the national title game combined. Honestly, he probably didn't play well as he had in a conference tournament in the early parts. He probably didn't play that great. I haven't seen his numbers from the Elite Eight on, but he kind of ended back to where he kind of started the year.
6 points, 7 points, 6 points, 3 assists, 2 assists, 1 assist.
Yeah, so he kind of lost a lot of his luster that he had. He didn't shoot well. 2 of 9 against Florida, 3 of 10 against Duke, 3 of 9 against Tennessee. But I think the thing that we've always seen from these Houston teams is if you stay another year, there is another level to you, right? There's another level defensively, as we saw from LJ Cryer. He wasn't a liability after his first year there. As we saw from JoJo Tugler, right? He became the Defensive Player of the Year. And so I think if you take the latter half of the year for Uzan and you add that to added confidence and you make him and Sharp your backcourt, I think it's reasonable to expect that he's going to take another step forward. What he averaged this year for the year, it was 11, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's 15 and 5 in there. I really do. Like, I think there's something around there. Even if he stays around the 11 range, I think there maybe can be ups. He's going to up the assist tally because Cryer's not going to be there,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that he's done really well defensively. I think he's going to get better. Obviously, Tugler coming back is massive there, and you're going to have so much freshman talent that this is a team to me that I wouldn't be shocked starts in the top 3 to 5, maybe falls out of the top 10 to 15 come conference, but then finishes back in the top 5. Because I think that they're going to rely so much on freshmen that it would not shock me if early growing pains happen.
Yeah. The Big 12 looks amazing this coming season. I know, John, another thing I saw on one John Ross things was he's like, Kansas is not a top 5 team in the Big 12 right now. And he's right. Kansas has been losing out on, Darian Williams and all these players that they're going after. But obviously you have the BYU, Baylor, we've talked about plenty. Iowa State's always going to be there. Houston, I'm forgetting one big one, but Texas Tech, obviously.
Yeah.
So
I think Parrish has Kansas 17, Iowa State 13, Arizona's 11, 7 Texas Tech, and then 3 BYU, and then 2 Houston. So it's already stupidly stacked.
Yeah, this is going to be the best Big 12 conference we've seen since they had that 9-team or 10-team one back in 2021, I think it was. But yes, Uzan returning. I think defensively we'll see him go to another level, like you said. I think that's a big thing. I'm curious to see how his scoring ticks up and if the efficiency ticks up. But again, he's coming off a year where he shot the ball fine. He shot 43% from 3. 47% from 2. I don't think he's like a great finisher around the rim. He has that nice little floater he goes to, but it'll be interesting to see how he rounds out his game there. I am still curious, Uzan coming back makes Houston a top 5 team. I am still curious, in my head, I don't look at them and be like, oh, that's for sure number 1, because still replacing Cryer, Francis, Robert, Wilson, with freshmen, and then you have guys like Mercy Miller, they're gonna have to step up. Cedric Lath will have to step up. Khalifa Sacco, who transferred from Sam Houston State, will have to
Arsenault as well. Arsenault's gone.
Arsenault's gone as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do it. But I will say I love the freshmen being able to come in. I mean, specifically Harwell and Flemings. Those guys being able to come in as pure backups for Uzan and Sharp year 1 is best case scenario. That is
Yeah.
absolute best case scenario because you could stagger, you could play Uzan and Harwell together, you could play Flemings and Sharp together. Like the combinations you can run with those four is awesome. So that's where I do feel good is like from a depth perspective, you got 2 5-stars sitting on your bench right here. And
Yeah, exactly.
like, okay, cool. So now it's just about figuring out the culture and figuring out the defense and everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say like because you have those guys and like Houston's gone small before, right? They've played
Oh, yeah.
sharp at the 3 and gone little. So like they could do that, right? If one of Harwell or Flemings earns more credibility defensively with Sampson, like it wouldn't shock me if they start at the 2 and all of a sudden we have Sharp moving to the 3 a little bit, and they're able, and especially with again, this is why I think Tugler returning was the biggest factor,
Yes.
right? As long as he's in the paint and he's somebody that you're going to be okay being smaller on the wings.
And also,
yeah.
Also, Uzan is obviously tall. Uzan's
Sure.
6'4", but like it's not like,
Yeah.
and as much as again Jamal Shed is an all-time defender, but like Jamal Shed is 6 feet tall on a good day. Uzan is 6'4".
Right.
Flemings is 6'2". Harwell is 6'5" or 6'4". Like so, you are able to be mix and match a little bit more than what you were. And like you said, with Tugler coming back, that is, Uzan's probably the best player on this team. Yeah. Tugler might be the most important player on this team.
He has to take that Juwan Roberts step because when we saw when Juwan Roberts was the big, right, left as the big, I think it was after oh God, the guy who just went to the NBA a couple years ago.
Oh, sorry,
I'm forgetting his name. Oh my goodness, he's anyway, it was a one and done player. I'm forgetting.
Not Justice Carlton, right?
No,
Jarris Walker.
Jarris Walker, that's what it was. When Jarris Walker left, like we were like, oh man, like he added so much to this, to that front court.
Yeah.
And it was like that's gonna be a lot on Juwan Roberts to come back and take over, and he did, right? He took that next step. He became a double-digit scorer in addition to being one of their defensive anchors. That's the step that JoJo Tugler is gonna have to take. Now I think Senak's gonna add, gonna make that not as big of like he's not gonna have to be like a 13-point per game scorer probably, but like he's still gonna have to probably approach double figures, right? I don't think that they're gonna be as good as they can be with him doing another 6 and 7 type year. I think it's probably going to be more like 8 or 9, 6 or 7, 8 or 9 or 8 and 8, right? 8 and 9 or something like that. But regardless, I go back to what I said about Houston in the beginning. There hasn't been a guy who I felt on Houston who stayed another year that stagnated, right? Everybody's taken like that little modest step forward. And so I feel like it's comfortable to assume that he would take that next step forward, whatever that be.
Yeah. All right, let's flip it. Texas A&M is the recipient of Uzan returning to Houston because they. This is how just I imagine it going in my head. Kevin Sampson was like, "Thank God," and then he said, "Pop, get out of here."
We're good.
We're good.
Milo Atlantis.
Yes, we're actually good.
We're actually good this time.
First, Pop Isaacs was now head to Texas A&M.
Yes.
And as much as we joke about Pop Isaacs the past 3 years or the past 2 years on this podcast, as much as we've talked about Isaacs' inefficiencies and his struggles, I love this fit for Texas A&M. And Bucky Ball is back officially in Texas.
Unironically, I am so happy for this move, like for A&M, because if there's one thing Pop Isaacs needed to be like the good version of himself, it's a green light. He needs to be without restraint. He needs to be probably the primary ball handler. And guess what? A&M needs some primary ball handlers, and they need some guys who are just okay to go. And that's exactly what Pop. If you look again, if you just want somebody to go, if you want somebody who has a forward arrow in their mind, right? I'm thinking of on the in video games. If you just need somebody who just goes forward, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about what's around you. Just go forward. That's Pop Isaacs, and I think it's a perfect fit because, like we said, Bucky Ball is all about tempo. It's all about offense. It's all about scoring. And there's one thing that he gets when you plug him on the floor, and it is all of those things: tempo, scoring, offense.
He went to Creighton last year, and he was hurt. but in the 8 games he played, and Creighton, can score the ball, obviously. In 8 games he played, he shot 38% from 3 on 7.5 attempts per game and was like in 32 minutes averaging 16 points per game. So it's not like he can't score. We understand it. The problem was when McCaslin took over at Texas Tech, it was just a really poor fit, and he ended up shooting 29% from 3, and nothing worked. So this can very well work. Like, this is now with Bucky McMillan at the helm, like, this makes sense. I'm not saying he's going to be an all-SEC guard, but, like, he can easily put up, like I just said, for the Creighton numbers, he can put up 16.5 points per game while shooting 40% from 3 and, 42% from the field, and that is perfectly fine. And Rosling has A&M at 35th in his rankings, and now that I look at the roster, because he has the roster listed out as well, I think that's a little low right now. They also got McKenzie and Mbako back, who we could talk about, I guess, a little later. But, like, Pop Isaacs, Rylan Griffin, Mbako, Federico, like, just those 4 alone.
That's an athletic team.
I mean, to me, that seems like it should be at least in the top 30, if not top 25. In terms of talent level. And so I will say a lot hinges on Isaacs on this team. Like, Marcus Hill, who they added from NC State last year, didn't shoot and score the ball well. Rylan Griffin had his struggles last year. So I will say, like, a lot hinges on Isaacs being that guy that can score 16 a game. He can't be inefficient, because if he is, then yes, this all kind of crumbles down. But in terms of ceiling, I think A&M has a pretty high ceiling at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're probably not going to stop many people, but they're going to be one of those teams that you just hate playing, because I think it's because the SEC is so defensive heavy and so slow tempo heavy, outside of Alabama, obviously. But it does not matter the roster that Alabama rolls out, because people hate playing against them. You're going to have to score 75. And I think going with that blueprint, knowing that you need a certain caliber of player to play the Tennessee, Auburn, grind it out, painful to watch style, you need a certain caliber of player. And if I'm being honest, it's easier to find dudes who just want to go. It's easier to find dudes, especially in year one. We'll see what Bucky Ball ends up looking like when he has a couple years under him. But, like, especially in year one, it's just, I mean, we saw with Grant McCaslin, right? Where it's like, we know what the brand of basketball he wants to play, but, like, it's so much easier just to be like, hey, like, obviously he came into a situation, but, like, eventually he was just like, all these guys just want to go. I'm just going to let them go. And they made the tournament. So it's like, if that's what it gets you, right? At A&M, if it gets you to the tournament in Bucky's first year and maybe wins a first round, gets past the first weekend, you'll take that, because I mean, you've been frustrated with the fact that you've had teams that have contended for conferences and then never made it out of the first weekend.
Dude, yeah, if they won a tournament game this year, that would be a massive success for.
And this team, I'll say, this team on paper can win a tournament game, like,
yes,
100,000%.
And that's why I'm like, again, the SEC will be very good. We know that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what, like, the conference record looks like, but just in terms of upside and a team that could get hot, a team that could, rattle off some wins with, like, if Griffin returns to the form he was at Alabama, then you have Isaacs and Griffin in your backcourt, and that is enough shooting for everybody. Like, they do plenty of that. And then Mbako was about to be a second-round pick, I think. You get his athleticism, his versatility there. I like that as well. So, yeah, I don't have anything else on A&M. I like this pickup. Everybody's happy. Houston's happy. A&M's happy. We're happy.
Pop Isaacs is happy.
Who is?
Pop Isaacs is happy.
Pop Isaacs is happy. So everybody's good. You got anything else here? Wrap it up.
No, that's good.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us. We'll do more of these, and we'll start getting more guests on the podcast in the coming weeks. So stick with us for that. And yeah, thank you all for joining us. We'll talk to y'all later.